the limestone cave system shouldn't have contained anything remarkable. Dr. Sophia Turner had explored dozens like it across the American Southwest, each yielding nothing more exciting than ancient pottery shards and primitive cave paintings. But as her flashlight beam cut through the darkness of this particular cavern in northern Arizona, something caught her eye that would change humanity's destiny forever. A faint purple glow emanated from beneath a seemingly solid rock wall, pulsing like a heartbeat. Sophia's scientific mind immediately began cataloging possibilities: bioluminescent fungi, mineral formations, even radioactive deposits. But none of those explanations could account for the perfectly geometric patterns that began emerging as she approached. "Base camp, are you getting these readings?" she spoke into her radio, checking the array of instruments strapped to her belt. The devices were going haywire, registering energy signatures unlike anything she'd encountered in 15 years of archaeological work. Static was her only answer. She was alone, half a mile underground, facing something that defied explanation. Sophia's hands trembled as she brushed away centuries of mineral deposits from the wall. Beneath the limestone, seamless metal plates of an unknown alloy emerged, covered in swirling scripts that seemed to shift and change as she watched them. Her heart pounded as she recognized elements of ancient languages she'd studied: Sumerian, Sanskrit, Egyptian hieroglyphs, but impossibly intertwined with symbols no human eye had ever seen. "This can't be real," she whispered, her voice echoing in the chamber. But she knew it was. Everything she'd dedicated her life to, the mysterious gaps in human civilization's development, the recurring myths of sky people across cultures, the inexplicable technological achievements of ancient peoples, it all led to this moment. The purple glow intensified as she touched the metal surface. A surge of energy coursed through her body, not painful but overwhelming, like every cell was suddenly awakening to a new awareness. The wall before her began to shift, plates sliding apart with a sound like distant thunder. Beyond lay a chamber that should not have existed. Crystalline columns stretched into darkness, their surfaces etched with the same flowing scripts. But it was the center of the room that drew Sophia's attention and stole her breath away. Suspended in a column of purple light floated a woman, or something that appeared female, at least. Her skin was alabaster white with subtle iridescent patterns that shifted like oil on water. Long silver hair drifted around her as if underwater. She wore armor of the same unknown metal as the walls, fitted to her form like liquid mercury. Most striking were the graceful, wing-like appendages that emerged from her shoulders, not feathered like angel wings but crystalline, refracting the purple light into rainbow patterns across the chamber walls. Even in suspended animation, she radiated power and authority. As Sophia stepped closer, the being's eyes snapped open. They were entirely silver, without pupils or iris, yet somehow conveyed an intelligence and depth that made Sophia's knees weak. The purple light intensified, and a voice spoke directly into her mind. "At last! The Awakener has come." The voice was feminine but otherworldly, carrying overtones that made Sophia's bones vibrate. She wanted to run, to hide, to wake up from what had to be a dream. But that same energy that had coursed through her earlier now held her in place. "I am Lenara, last Empress of the Stellar Dominion. And you, child of Earth, carry within you the key to salvation." "I don't understand," Sophia managed to say. "What are you? How long have you been here?" "Longer than your kind has walked upright," Lenara replied. "We chose this world as our sanctuary when the dark tide first arose. My people sealed me here, knowing that only a human with the right genetic marker could awaken me when the time came. You are descended from those we trusted with our secret." The Empress's feet touched the ground as the purple light faded. She moved with inhuman grace, each step precise and fluid. Standing before Sophia, she towered nearly 7 feet tall, her crystalline wings casting prismatic patterns across both their faces. "The dark tide rises again," Lenara said aloud now, her voice carrying the same otherworldly resonance. "Your world faces extinction, as mine did millennia ago. But together. She reached out, touching Sophia's cheek with fingers that felt like silk over steel. Together we might save them both. The touch sent another surge of energy through Sophia's body, stronger this time. Her vision blurred, filled with images of impossible cities among the stars, great fleets of crystalline ships, and a darkness that devoured light itself. When her sight cleared, she found her own hand pressed against Lenara's armored chest, directly over her heart. Beneath the metal, she felt an answering pulse of power. "How?" Sophia whispered. "I'm just an archaeologist. I'm nobody special." Lenara's silver eyes seemed to see through to her soul. "You are far more than you know, Sophia Turner. Your very blood carries the legacy of my people's science, waiting to be awakened. The question is not how, but whether you will accept your destiny." Before Sophia could respond, alarms began blaring from her forgotten instruments. The cave walls trembled, and dust rained from above. Something was happening on the surface. "They have found us," Lenara said grimly. "The servants of the Dark Tide have sensed my awakening. Your world's governments will soon detect us as well. We must act quickly." She extended her hand. "Will you trust me, Sophia Turner? Will you help me save both our peoples?" Sophia stared at the offered hand, her mind racing. Everything she knew about reality had shattered in the past few minutes. But as another tremor shook the cave, she realized there was only one choice she could live with. She took Lenara's hand. The Empress smiled, an expression both beautiful and terrible. "Then let us begin." The mountain above them continued to tremble as Lenara pulled Sophia through crystalline corridors that shouldn't have existed beneath the Arizona desert. The Empress moved with liquid grace, her wings folded close to her body, while Sophia struggled to keep up. "What's happening up there?" Sophia asked, her archaeological training making her wince as they passed countless artifacts that would rewrite human history. "The Dark Tide Scouts," Lenara replied without slowing. "Shadow vessels, biological ships that see destruction ahead of their main fleet. They've been watching your world for centuries, waiting for signs of my awakening." They emerged into a vast chamber that made Sophia's jaw drop. A ship stood before them, but like no vessel humanity had ever conceived. It appeared grown rather than built, its hull a seamless fusion of crystal and living metal that pulsed with the same purple energy she'd seen earlier. "The Star Weaver," Lenara said, pride evident in her otherworldly voice. "My flagship, sealed here with me. It slumbers still, but together we can." A deafening boom from above cut her off. Dust and rocks showered down as something massive impacted the surface. Sophia's instruments screamed with readings off the scale. "They're going to breach the chamber," Lenara said grimly. "We need the Star Weaver, but awakening it requires both of us. Your genetic heritage carries the key, but you don't yet know how to use it. Then teach me." Sophia surprised herself with her vehemence. "You said I have your people's science in my blood. Show me how to use it." Lenara's silver eyes studied her for a moment. "It will not be pleasant. The power must be forced awake, and your body will fight the transformation." Another impact rocked the chamber. Sophia squared her shoulders. "Do it." The Empress moved with blinding speed, pressing one hand to Sophia's forehead and the other over her heart. "Remember," she commanded, "you are more than what you appear. Your ancestors were chosen for their strength. Now awaken." Pain exploded through Sophia's body, as if every cell was being rewritten. She tried to scream but couldn't draw breath. Images flooded her mind, stars being born and dying, civilizations rising and falling, battles between crystal ships and living darkness in the void between worlds. Through it all, she felt Lenara's presence anchoring her, preventing her consciousness from being swept away in the torrent of awakening power. When her vision cleared, the world had changed. She could see energy flowing through the chamber walls, feel the pulse of the sleeping ship before them. Most startling, she could sense Lenara's essence, ancient, powerful, and impossibly complex. What did you do to me? I awakened what was always there, Lenara replied. Look. Sophia raised her hands and gasped. Her skin now held the same subtle iridescence as Lenara's, though more subdued. Energy coursed through her body in visible patterns, and her mind felt expanded, able to process multiple streams of information simultaneously. The transformation is just beginning, Lenara explained. But it will have to be enough. They're almost through. As if summoned by her words, part of the chamber ceiling collapsed. Through the hole, Sophia glimpsed something that defied description, a writhing mass of darkness that absorbed all light, studded with malevolent red sensors. Help me wake the Star Weaver, Lenara commanded, extending her hands toward the ship. Focus your energy as I do. Let the power flow through you into the vessel. Your human intuition combined with our technology may be exactly what we need. Sophia mimicked the Empress's stance, and immediately felt the connection. The ship's essence reached out to both of them, recognizing Lenara as its mistress and Sophia as something new, yet familiar. Power flowed from both women into the vessel, Lenara's ancient strength merging with Sophia's newly awakened abilities. The Starweaver's crystal hull began to pulse with light. Sections that had appeared solid became transparent, revealing internal chambers and corridors. The ship was awakening, but too slowly. More of the dark mass pushed through the ceiling breach. Now Sophia could sense its malevolent intelligence, its hunger to consume and corrupt. The sight should have terrified her, but her transformed mind processed it with an almost clinical detachment. It's not working fast enough, she said, watching the darkness spread. Then we must try something unprecedented. Lenara turned to her, silver eyes intense. Your human adaptability, your capacity for creative leaps. I need you to trust your instincts. Don't think about the power, feel it. What does your heart tell you to do? Sophia closed her eyes, letting her archaeological training fall away. She'd spent her life studying the past, trying to understand how things worked. But this was about creation, about bringing something new into being. Without conscious thought, she stepped forward and pressed her hand against the Starweaver's hull. Wake up, she whispered. We need you. Energy surged through her, different from before. Not the controlled flow Lenara had demonstrated, but a wild torrent of power born from desperation and determination. She felt Lenara gasp beside her, then the Empress's hand covered hers on the hull. Their energies merged, Lenara's ancient might channeled and amplified by Sophia's human desperation. The Starweaver's crystal surface blazed with purple-white light so intense it drove back the encroaching darkness. The ship didn't just wake, it burst into full awareness with a song that shook the chamber. Welcome, Empress, a voice chimed in both their minds. Welcome, Awakener. What is your command? Lenara laughed, the sound like crystal chimes. You've done it. Your human unpredictability, your ability to forge new paths, you've awakened abilities that took my people centuries to master. Before Sophia could respond, the darkness above them rippled and struck, tentacles of void reaching for them both. But the Starweaver was faster. Energy fields sprang up around them as the ship's external crystal layers shifted and flowed, creating an access port. Inside. Lenara commanded, pulling Sophia along. The real battle is about to begin. As they raced into the living ship, Sophia felt its systems interfacing with her transformed consciousness. Through its sensors, she could see more dark ships descending from orbit, while human military forces converged on their location. What now? She asked, watching Lenara take position in what had to be the ship's control center. The Empress's expression was fierce and proud. Now, dear Sophia, you learn what it truly means to be part of my people's legacy. The Dark Tide thinks humanity is primitive and weak. Let us show them how wrong they are. The Starweaver hummed with power around them, ready to rise and fight. And despite the impossible situation, despite the transformation of her body and the weight of destiny pressing down, Sophia felt herself smile. Whatever came next, she would face it alongside this magnificent being who had awoken something greater in her. The true adventure was just beginning. The Starweaver erupted from the mountain in a shower of rock and crystalline energy, its hull blazing with combined human and alien power. Inside the control chamber, Sophia watched in awe as the ship responded to both her and Lenara's thoughts, their merged consciousness guiding its movements with impossible precision. Multiple contacts, Sophia reported, instinctively understanding the ship's sensor data. 3 dark tide vessels above, and 7 squadrons of human fighter jets approaching from Edwards Air Force Base. Lenara's expression remained serene, but Sophia felt the Empress's concern through their growing mental link. We face enemies on 2 fronts then. The dark tide will destroy your military forces without hesitation, yet we cannot reveal too much of our power without drawing their main fleet here prematurely. The dark ships above them writhed and shifted, their void-black surfaces absorbing all light. Targeting signals washed over the Starweaver's hull as human radar systems locked onto them as well. "Let me handle the military," Sophia said suddenly. "I'm still human, despite this." She gestured at her transformed appearance. "I can communicate with them, make them understand. While I hold off the dark tide?" Lenara raised an elegant eyebrow. "That would leave the Starweaver's power divided. Then we'll just have to trust each other completely." Sophia met those silver eyes without flinching. "Isn't that what this bond between us is about?" Something flickered in Lenara's expression, surprise, admiration, and perhaps something deeper. "Very well. Take the communications array. Show me how humanity handles diplomacy under fire." Sophia closed her eyes, connecting to the ship's systems. The Starweaver's crystalline technology interfaced seamlessly with Earth's digital communications. She found the military frequencies and spoke. "This is Dr. Sophia Turner, authentication code Sierra 9 Delta 74. I am aboard the unknown vessel, and we are not hostile. The black ships above us are the real threat. Check your sensors, they're unlike anything in our records." There was a moment of stunned silence before a response came. "Dr. Turner, this is Colonel Richard Hayes. Your credentials check out, but you understand we're having a hard time believing." A beam of pure darkness lanced down from one of the void ships, cutting through the air where the fighter squadron had been moments before. Only their swift evasive action saved them. "That's what we're up against, Colonel," Sophia said sharply. "Those ships want to destroy Earth, and we're your only defense. Stand down and let us protect you." Meanwhile, Lenara had engaged the dark tide vessels. The Starweaver moved like a living thing, its crystalline weapons firing streams of purple energy that actually hurt the darkness. Sophia felt the strain through their connection as Lenara fought with millennia of experience. "These are only scouts," Lenara said grimly. "Yet they've grown stronger during my slumber. The main fleet will be far worse." A burst of void energy clipped the Starweaver's port side. The ship's pain echoed through both of them, making Sophia gasp. Without thinking, she reached out and clasped Lenara's hand. Power surged between them, stronger than ever. "Together," Sophia said firmly. "Stop trying to protect me and let me help you fight." Lenara's silver eyes widened, but she nodded. Their fingers intertwined, and suddenly they were truly one. Sophia's human instincts for improvisation merged with Lenara's ancient knowledge. The Starweaver responded instantly, its movements becoming even more fluid and unpredictable. Through it all, Sophia maintained contact with the human forces. "Colonel, we're going to create an opening. When we do, hit the leftmost target with everything you've got. Their shields don't work well against kinetic weapons." "Understood, Doctor." Hayes's voice carried both disbelief and determination. All squadrons, arm heavy ordnance and stand by. The Starweaver danced through the sky, drawing the void ships into position. Sophia and Lenara moved as one, their shared power flowing through the living ship. At precisely the right moment, they fired a burst of crystal energy that disrupted the dark vessel's absorption field. Now! Sophia commanded. Missiles streaked upward from the human fighters. The void ship, temporarily vulnerable, couldn't absorb the barrage. It shuddered, its surface rippling, then imploded into nothingness. Impossible. A harsh telepathic voice cut through their minds. The humans are primitives. They cannot harm us. The humans, Lenara broadcast back, are full of surprises. The remaining void ships retreated, vanishing into subspace rifts. But Sophia knew this was just the beginning. Through their bond, she felt Lenara's certainty that the dark tide would return in force. As the Starweaver hovered above the Arizona desert, surrounded by cautiously circling human fighters, Sophia turned to Lenara. They'll want answers. My government, the military, they'll want to know everything. Then we shall give them answers. Lenara's free hand, she hadn't let go of Sophia's, traced the line of her cheek. But first, I need you to understand what's truly happening between us. This bond, it's more than just power. Sophia's heart raced. The connection between them pulsed with unspoken emotions. The transformation isn't complete, is it? No. Lenara's voice was soft. You're becoming something entirely new, neither fully human nor fully like my people. And I. She hesitated. I find myself changing as well. Your humanity calls to something in me I thought long dead. Before Sophia could respond, the ship's sensors blared a warning. Multiple subspace distortions were forming in the solar system's outer edges. More void ships, much larger than the scouts. How long do we have? Sophia asked. Days, perhaps. They'll gather their forces first. Lenara's expression was troubled. We need to prepare your world's defenses, awaken more of your latent power, and... She met Sophia's gaze. We need to understand what we're becoming to each other. Sophia squeezed her hand. Then we better get started. As they guided the Starweaver down to meet Earth's representatives, Sophia felt the weight of destiny pressing down. But with Lenara beside her, their powers and hearts increasingly intertwined, she was ready to face whatever came next. The real challenge would be convincing humanity to trust in something beyond their understanding, and keeping the dark tide at bay long enough for their blossoming bond to reach its full potential. The Pentagon's war room hummed with tension as holographic displays showed the approaching dark tide fleet. Through the Starweaver's enhanced sensors, they could see over 30 massive void ships gathering at the edge of the solar system, their darkness blotting out the stars. Sophia stood before the Joint Chiefs, her transformed appearance drawing wary glances. The iridescent patterns beneath her skin pulsed with power, and she could sense their thoughts, fear, wonder, and desperate hope all mingled together. 72 hours, she announced, projecting the Starweaver's tactical display above the conference table. That's how long until they reach Earth. Our orbital defenses won't even slow them down. Then why are they waiting? General Marcus demanded. Why not attack immediately? Because they fear what they don't understand, Lenara answered, her crystalline wings shifting as she moved to stand beside Sophia. The death of their scout ship proved humans are more dangerous than they believed. Now they gather overwhelming force. The past 3 days had been a blur of preparation and discovery. While Earth's militaries mobilized, Sophia and Lenara had worked to unlock more of humanity's hidden potential. Around the globe, others with the genetic marker were emerging, not many, perhaps 1 in a million, but each capable of interfacing with restored pieces of ancient technology. But more than that, Sophia and Lenara's bond had deepened into something profound. Each shared thought, each moment of connection, brought them closer. Sophia could feel it now, an almost physical ache when they were apart. The Starweaver's weapons proved effective, Sophia continued, pushing aside personal thoughts for now. We've modified the designs for Earth's missile systems. Combined with the awakened human's power. It won't be enough, Lenara interrupted softly. Not against so many. She turned to face the military leaders. There is another way, but you must trust us completely. The generals exchanged glances. General Marcus spoke for them all. What do you propose? Beneath the Earth's surface lie more of my people's ships, sealed away like I was. With enough awakened humans, we could revive them. Create a real fleet. And put humanity at the mercy of alien technology, someone objected. You're already at the mercy of the dark tide, Sophia shot back. At least we're offering you a fighting chance. The room erupted in argument, but Sophia barely heard it. Through their bond, she felt Lenara's growing distress. Something was wrong. They're moving, Lenara's thought touched her mind. The dark tide. They sensed us scanning them. Sophia's blood ran cold. How long? Hours, not days. They mean to catch us unprepared. Without warning, every screen in the war room went dark. When they flickered back to life, they showed void ships emerging from subspace rifts all around the planet. They're here, Sophia announced grimly. The choice has been made for us. Chaos erupted as orders were shouted and alerts sounded. But Sophia and Lenara were already moving, their thoughts perfectly aligned. They had to reach the Starweaver. They ran through Pentagon corridors, guards scrambling to keep up. Through their enhanced senses, they could feel the void ship's malevolent presence pressing down on the planet. Sophia. Lenara caught her arm as they reached the exit. There's something I must tell you. Something I've discovered about our bond. Now? Now. Because what we're about to attempt. Lenara's silver eyes held depths of emotion. The connection between us, it's more than just compatibility. My people searched for centuries for humans with the right genetic marker, but none of them ever achieved what we have. What are you saying? I'm saying that perhaps this isn't just about genetics or prophecy. Perhaps it's about. The sky above them turned black as void ships moved into position. A deep, horrible voice echoed in both their minds. Surrender the Empress and the Abomination. Their power will feed the dark tide. Sophia felt Lenara's grip tighten on her arm. The Empress's next words came in a whisper, perhaps it's about love. Before Sophia could respond, the first attacks began. Beams of pure darkness lanced down from the sky, met by hastily upgraded human defenses. The few awakened humans around the globe activated their pieces of ancient technology, adding streams of purple energy to the resistance. They reached the Starweaver just as a void tendril crashed into the Pentagon's outer wall. The living ship hummed with power, responding to their shared urgency. The sealed ships, Sophia said as they took their positions in the control chamber. Can we reach them in time? Not all, Lenara replied. But enough. Enough to give humanity a chance, if. If what? If we complete our bond. Fully. But Sophia, Lenara's expression was pained, it will change us both forever. You'll never be fully human again. Around them, the battle for Earth intensified. Through the Starweaver's sensors, they watched void ships trading fire with human defenders. Some of the darkness was being driven back, but more kept coming. Sophia met Lenara's gaze. I stopped being fully human the moment I met you. And I wouldn't change that for anything. Their hands clasped. Power surged between them, stronger than ever before. But this time, neither tried to control it. They let it flow freely, let their hearts and minds and souls emerge until there was no separation between Empress and archaeologist, between alien and human. The Starweaver's crystal hull blazed with unprecedented light as their transformed consciousness extended through it. They could feel every sealed ship beneath the Earth's surface, every scrap of ancient technology waiting to be awakened. They were no longer just Sophia and Lenara. They were something new, something that could finally stand against the darkness. As one voice, they broadcast to the void ships above, "You want our power? Come and take it." The real battle for Earth was about to begin. The sky above Earth had become a battlefield of light and shadow. Void ships clashed with human forces while the Starweaver, blazing like a purple star, led the charge. Within its crystalline heart, Sophia and Lenara existed in perfect unity, their merged consciousness extending far beyond normal limits. Through their bond, they could feel everything, every human defender fighting with desperate courage, every piece of awakened technology responding to their call, every dark ship trying to consume the planet's life force. But most of all, they felt each other, their hearts beating in perfect synchronization. The sealed ships, they thought as one. Now, their combined power reached deep into the Earth, touching the ancient vessels hidden beneath every continent. One by one, the ships awakened, breaking free from their millennia-long slumber. They burst from the ground in geysers of stone and crystal, their hulls already battle-ready. Impossible! The dark tide psychic scream echoed across the planet. The human world hid such power? Humanity, their unified voice replied, is full of surprises. The awakened ships rose to join the battle, each connecting to the nearest humans with the genetic marker. Those chosen few found themselves transformed as Sophia had been, their latent abilities flowering under the stress of combat. Not an army, there were too few for that, but enough to turn the tide. Through the Starweaver's sensors, they watched a young pilot in Shanghai merge with her crystal ship, instinctively understanding its weapons. In Brazil, a farmer's boy took control of an ancient defense platform. A schoolteacher in Kenya found herself commanding technological marvels. But the dark tide was far from defeated. The void ships pressed their attack with renewed fury, their darkness seeking to corrupt and consume. Several human cities already lay in ruins, and even the combined fleet couldn't be everywhere at once. There's too many, they realized. Even with the sealed ships, we're outnumbered. Then they felt it, a resonance in their shared consciousness, a possibility that neither Sophia nor Lenara would have seen alone. Their differences, rather than being a weakness, had created something entirely new. The human capacity for improvisation combined with ancient alien knowledge. Yes, they thought. But the price? They knew what had to be done. Their merged consciousness reached out to all the awakened humans, sharing the plan without words. Each crystal ship acknowledged, moving into position around the planet. The void ships pressed closer, sensing victory. Dark tendrils reached for population centers, only to be driven back by desperate defenders. The human military fought with everything they had, but their weapons were failing, ammunition running low. At the Pentagon, General Marcus watched his tactical displays with growing horror. We're losing ground everywhere. Dr. Turner, Empress, if you have any other tricks up your sleeve, now's the time. We have one, their voices answered in unison through the calm. But first. Their consciousness split briefly, becoming Sophia and Lenara again, though still deeply connected. They needed this moment of separation, this last chance to be themselves. Are you sure? Lenara asked softly, her silver eyes filled with emotion. Once done, there's no going back. You'll never be fully human again. Sophia smiled, touching her lover's face. I chose this, chose you, the moment I found you in that cave. Whatever we become, we face it together. Their lips met in a kiss that sent power cascading through the Starweaver's systems. When they parted, they were one again, their merged consciousness stronger than ever. They sent the command to all crystal ships, begin the convergence. Around the Earth, the awakened vessels began to move in perfect synchronization. Purple energy streams connected them, forming a lattice of light around the planet. The dark tide ships tried to interrupt the pattern but couldn't breach the energy web. In the Pentagon war room, instruments exploded as power readings went off the scale. Through their enhanced senses, Sophia and Lenara felt the very fabric of space beginning to twist. "You cannot stop us," the dark tide raged. "We are eternal. We are darkness itself." "Perhaps," they responded. "But we are light." Their consciousness expanded one final time, touching every crystal ship, every awakened human, every piece of ancient technology. The lattice of energy turned solid, becoming a barrier between dimensions. But more than that, it became a weapon. They poured everything into it, Lenara's ancient power, Sophia's human determination, and most of all, the love that had transformed them both. The barrier began to pulse, each beat sending out waves of crystal energy. The void ships tried to retreat, but it was too late. The waves of power washed over them, not destroying but transforming. Darkness became light, corruption became purity. The dark tide's very essence was being rewritten. When it was over, the sky was clear again. Where void ships had been, crystalline vessels now floated, their darkness purged. The human defenders watched in awe as their former enemies descended peacefully, transformed by the power of two beings who had dared to bridge the gap between their species. In the Starweaver's control chamber, Sophia and Lenara's merged consciousness slowly separated again. They looked at each other with new eyes, both of them changed, neither fully what they had been before. Sophia's skin now held the same iridescence as Lenara's, while the Empress's silver eyes had gained hints of human green. Crystal wings, smaller than Lenara's but just as beautiful, had sprouted from Sophia's back. "What are we now?" Sophia whispered. Lenara smiled, taking her hands. "We are the beginning. The first of a new kind of being, not human, not alien, but something greater than both. And we are, as we have been since that moment in the cave, deeply in love." On the tactical channels, humans were celebrating victory. Around the world, the awakened ones were coming to terms with their transformation. And in orbit, the converted void ships waited peacefully for instructions from their new commanders. "Earth will never be the same," Sophia said, looking down at her transformed home. "No," Lenara agreed. "It will be better. Your people have proven themselves worthy of joining the stars. And we." She pulled Sophia close. "We have proven that love can transcend species, transcend destiny itself." Their lips met again as the Starweaver soared above a changed Earth. The future was uncertain, full of challenges as humanity stepped onto the galactic stage. But whatever came next, they would face it together, two beings who had found each other across the gulf of space and time, and in doing so, had saved both their peoples. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but their story was just beginning.